In this video, I am going to show you how to use TI 83 or 84 to solve compound interest problems. So far in 8.3, you learned the simple interest formula, I equals PRT, where P is the principal, the money that you have right now, R is the rate, and T is the time in years. Now, the compound interest, the most common situations are annually, so the interest is compounded annually, and I wrote here 1 because it's 1 time per year, semiannually, and I wrote 2 because that means the interest is compounded 2 times every year, quarterly 4 because the interest is compounded 4 times per year, monthly, well, there is a typo here, it should be 12 because the interest is compounded 12 times in a year, and you can have problems with daily, which is 365 in a year. So now let's familiarize ourselves with the TI. So please open your TI calculator and follow the steps. First, you have to press apps. So the mouse, the cursor, it's on apps. So it should be the same place with your calculator if you have a TI 83 or 84. So we press apps. So this list of applications shows up. And we press 1 because we want to use the finance. And then we press 1. So you always go apps 1, 1, and you'll always end up with this page. N stands for the number of times your interest is going to be computed. I% is the interest rate, so you're going to write just the number. PV stands for present value, which we are going to put sometimes a number there. PMT stands for payment. FV stands for future value. P/Y, you're going to write there how many times your interest is compounded. So if in the problem they say quarterly, you're going to put here 4. And then this automatically is going to change to 4 as well. If it's monthly, you're going to put 12 here, and this is going to change to 12 as well. And then and you always use and. So let's do a few problems. So we have this example 1 where the principal is $9,000. So just imagine that you actually have $9,000. That means the principal, you have it right now. The rate is 4%. It's compounded, the interest is compounded annually. So what does that mean for us? It means we have to use 1 for our calculator, and the time is 3 years. So just imagine that you have $9,000, you put it in a bank at 4% interest rate, the rate is compounded annually, and you put the money in the bank and you leave it there for 3 years. The question is, how much money will be after 3 years? And B, what's the interest earned? Well, if you check the textbook, there is a formula there that you can use. But instead of using the formulas, we're just going to use the calculator because it's much faster, it's easier, and you can always use that later on in life if you forget the formula. So this is how I'm going to expect you to write your solutions in when you show work on a test. So first of all, N equals the number of times the interest is computed. So it's actually 3 times 1 because it's 3 years and it's called annually, so it's 3 times 1, which is 3, of course. The interest rate, you are going to put just 4. Don't put 4% or 0.04. Just put 4. That's how the calculator is set up. Present value is the amount of money that you have right now, is the principal. So we put 9,000. PMT, they didn't say anything about any payment, so I'm just going to leave it 0. If you don't put anything, you're not going to be able to continue future value is the one that I want to find. So I'm gonna put a box here. P/Y, so the interest is compounded annually, so I'm gonna put 1, and C/Y is gonna automatically go on and end. This is how I expect you to write in your test as well. So to find the future value, we are going to press this combination of the, buttons, alpha, enter. So now I'm going to go in the problem and I'm going to start pressing the buttons. So n equals 3. Then we go down and we put the interest, 4. Then we go down and we put the present value, 9,000. The payment is already 0, so I'm just going to leave it like that. The P/Y, it's already 1, so we are fine. So then we go to future value, the one that we actually want to find, right? This is what I want to find here. And I'm going to press alpha, enter. Alpha, enter. Why? Because if you look on top of enter, it says with green solve. So the future value, let me put it with a different color, because that's what we found, is 10,123.78. So I rounded to 2 decimal points to the nearest hundredths. It says minus there. Don't worry about the negative. You should ignore the sign. You had $9,000, and now once you left the money in the bank with 4% computed annually, in 3 years you won, or you earned 10,123.78. Always read the blue part in my MATLAB, because it might say round to the nearest dollar. So then you would say 10,124. But if it says to the nearest cent, then we would use 2 decimals. This was part A, and part B says interest earned. So since we have 10,123.789 minus 9,000, well, if we subtract this, what do we get? So we get $1,123.78. That's the interest earned. Okay, let's do another problem. This time you have $4,000. You put it in a bank at 6% interest rate, which is compounded quarterly. So keep in mind that would be a 4, right? 4 times per year. And it's for 4 years. So this 4 and this 4 have nothing in common. Okay, now you might ask, how do you get this blank screen on your calculator? All you have to do is go second mode, and you quit basically your initial screen, and this is how you get to the original screen. So now I'm gonna go again to the finance app. So we go apps, we go 1 for finance and 1 TV solver, and we have the previous screen where we are gonna make some changes. So again, this is how you're going to write on your paper when you are turning in a test. N equals, well, it's 4 years times 4 because it's quarterly, so it's 16. You can write 4 times 4, you don't have to write 16 because it's actually computing for you. So it's 16 times, that's how many times the interest is computed. The interest is 6. Please do not write 6% or 0.06 because you're gonna get an error or you're gonna get a totally different answer. The present value is 4,000. You have this money. Payment, well, we didn't do anything with the payment. We didn't discuss of repeating payments like when you pay your phone or your cable or your mortgage, right? There is no payment involved here. You just have a lump sum of $4,000. Future value, that's what we want to find. You may ask, how do I know that? Well, what's the question is asking. Find how much you'll have after 4 years. P/Y, Well, this time it's 4 because they said quarterly. Last time we put 1 because they say annually. C/Y, it's 4. And then it's at end. So the reason I chose this problem is just because this time we'll have to use quarterly. So let's go. I equals 6. Then we go present value with the arrow. Present value now it's 4,000. The payment is the same. I have to change the P/Y, so put 4. And then 4. Automatically C/Y becomes 4. And so I go to the future value and I press alpha, enter. So once we press alpha, enter, we get 5,000 again. Don't worry about the negative. 5,075.94 if we were to round to the nearest cent. This is how much money you will have after 4 years in these conditions. So the interest rate, right? So if I want to find out how much interest amount, how much money we earned is 5,075.94 minus 4,000, which we had initially, so it's 1,075.94. Okay, example 3. How much money should be deposited today in an account that earns 5% compounded semi-annually so that it will accumulate to 11,000 in 3 years? Now, the reason why I chose this problem is because this time I do not know the present value, but I know the future value because I know that it will become 11,000 in 3 years. So how are we going to write this in the calculator? Well, n equals, well, it's 3 years, and then they said semi-annually, so 3 times 2, so the number of times the interest is calculated, it's 6 times. The interest is 5. The present value is, I don't know it, right? That's what I want to find. The payment, again, we didn't do anything with the payment yet, so we put 0. The future value is 11,000. Well, we don't have to put the symbol, so it's 11,000. And P/Y is 2 because of semi-annually. And then we keep the end. We always use end, always. Okay, so let's start writing this in the calculator. So n equals 6. I equals 5. Present value, I don't know it. I'm going to put 0. Payment, 0. Future value, 11,000. Oops. Delete 1. And P/Y is 2. And then this one changes to 2 automatically. What do I want? Present value. So I go to present value and I press alpha, enter, and we get 9,485.27. This is how much money you should have today so that it will accumulate to 11,000.